Now, our third panel discussion today is on collaborative governance, integrating technology across sectors for effective public administration. I am pleased to introduce our moderator, Mr. Sanjay Maheshwari, Executive Director of Technology and Transformation at Delight India. Joining Mr. Maheshwari on the panel are Mr. Abhijit Agarwal, IAS Commissioner, Excise, Department of Revenue, Government of Madhya Pradesh. Ms. Sanghamitra Gautam, IAS, Deputy Secretary, Department of Higher Education, Government of Madhya Pradesh. Mr. Nishant Thakur, HPS, Additional Secretary, Department of Education, Government of Himachal Pradesh. Mr. V. Udaya Kumar, Deputy Director General and Head of Groups, GST&S, NDMIS, DST, MOPNG, DOF, DOC and PC, CIC and DBT Division, National Informatics Center, HQS, Headquarters, Government of India. And Mr. Srijit Goswami, Vice President, Business Development and Technology, West Bengal Electronics Industry Development Corporation Limited, Government of West Bengal. So, before Sanjay sir, you will start the panel.
First of all, thank you so much. Thanks to the organizers and Government of Madhya Pradesh for having me here as a moderator for this very important session on collaborative governance. And I also thank all my panelists here, esteemed panelists here, and what an example they are showing, because they are coming from different part of country. Diverse experience, with huge experience, also different background. This is also one of the very major example of collaboration. And this session is all about the collective intersection of the collective collaborative governance and integrated technology. And the discussion is all about these two collaborative governance and technology integration. So without talking much, I start my discussion with Mr. Kumar. Mr. If you can describe any recent initiative or any project where there is a great example of collaborative governance and technology integration, which can be showcased here.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. Thank you, organizers, for inviting me to this session. Actually, one application which we have launched recently was Parivesh. It's a very, it is very complex application where about 300 decision tools, a lot of GIS has been integrated, and complete workflow. There are four under Ministry of Environment and Forest. There are four permissions which are required. One is forest clearance, environment clearance, budget clearance, and wildlife clearance. There are the workflows for each of the permissions is entirely different, and forest is most complex. So it goes up to the district level, and there are a lot of queries, there are a lot of forms, a lot of transformation has happened as far as these clearances are concerned. There was change in the act also which we have done. It is one of, I would say, that very transformative initiative of government, where online the ministry can see where the file is, who is doing what, and I can tell you some proposals were clearly rejected because of certain, because of integration of GIS. Certain officers unfortunately got fired and given notices because of this. Because the system is transparent from top to the bottom. Where the file is, what permission has been given, whether where it is pending. There were all the IFS officers, top to the bottom. Everybody is involved, everybody has to give permissions, and you can trace the file end to end. And for the stakeholders, it has become very easy. They can also, before coming to the platform itself, they can check what permissions they require based on the GIS inputs which we are giving. And then later on, previously it was very complicated. They need to upload megabytes of documents which are never verified. So we have introduced verification of their PAN, verification of their SIN. Everything was online. So that was very transformative thing which I need to mention. There are some other initiatives.
Great said, I think, because this is another example of PPI, which was done actually, and also a kind of simplicity, and also the reduced levels of the processes and all these things. This is a great example. Yeah, I understand. So, coming to you, Mr. Goswami, if you can also tell us about any recent project or any recent initiative in the government where there has been a lot of technology integration through which there have been a collaborative governance, and also what were the outcome actually of that project?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, because we have already put in the evening section, so it's an evening time for all of us. And good evening, Mr. Maheshwari and the other speakers on the dais. First of all, a very big thank you to all of you for giving us a chance from coming from all the way from West Bengal and speaking here in Madhya Pradesh on this Elite Forum. And there is one more important issue which I must be saying here, because this year is particularly the Golden Jubilee celebration for WEBL. So it's another feather in our cap to present ourselves before you. Now coming back to the topic on which we are discussing, or even the topic of this forum or the conclave, and what Mr. Maheshwari asked. It is true, WEBL has been doing such kind of collaborative jobs or engagements in huge numbers. But before going into the detail of that, what we feel from WEBL, first of all, in WEBL we say we are able, that's why we have WEBL or WEBL events. Next, anything which are PSU like WEBL, because we are also the state level agency and the nodal agency for the government of West Bengal. Whatever we do or whatever projects we do, it is very true, collection of revenue or generation of revenue for the government is very important vertical. But apart from that, doing a value-added service to the society and upliftment of the humankind, it is the most important movement to us. Not only just generating revenue or money, but also seeing to it that there is an upliftment in the society. That's very much important to us, and I think all the governments are thinking in the same line. Now, giving an example of this kind of a collaborative governance, WEBL has put her forward in number of sectors. I'll just give you an example. In the power sector we have done so. We have implemented almost 1 lakh smart meters across the state of West Bengal. That's a joint collaboration. I'll come in detail to you of that, some other examples. In the health sector we have done so. WEBL had been one of the most initial pioneers in doing work on telemedicine, and not only in the state of West Bengal but far off in Northeast, in Tripura and in other Northeastern states too. We have been working with our other state partners. We have been our presence in Bihar, in Jharkhand, in Orissa, in Chhattisgarh, and in MP, Madhya Pradesh. Regarding the collaborative work in the other sectors, apart from health and power, we have done in administration as far as police is concerned. We have done in your education. We have been pioneer in ICT classes and implementation of that across many other states in India. We have moved forward towards South India also. Now coming back to this particular section of one more thing, this is very important for me to mention. As far as prestigious projects are concerned from WEBL, we recently did something for Hawaii in Arunachal Pradesh, where Selapas was inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister, where we had provided the CRS service, which is the community radio services. The antennas were manufactured by WEBL itself. So we are into diversified work in collaboration with other governments also, and with public sectors and with private sectors. Now, giving this example of smart meter, as you asked, what kind of collaborations we have done with the private people, and how this transformation of technology or digitization of other prevailing kind of situations where earlier we used to have conventional meters. Now digitization brought the change all through the smart meter. Here what happened, our partner, who is one of the manufacturers of this smart meter, they collaborated with us and it was a kind of a consultative partnership. So Webel always appreciates and provides support to new entrepreneurs plus other kind of organizations, private organizations from various folds to make their way ahead, and they get all the support. Apart from that, in this particular job or this project, which has been successfully done till now, we were doing this work with WBSCTCL, that is West Bengal State Electronic Distribution Company Limited. So the job was like this, our partner, the private partner, they were supposed to manufacture the meters, and Webel was given the job of executing or implementing it across the state of West Bengal. So the challenges which we faced when we work with our private partner, one big point is when you come to do a project, you should be financially sound. If you are not so, then in the middle of the project, there is a problem. So only because we are a PSU and they get the support from us, this project will have been taken along. Otherwise, there were some challenges in between. Apart from that, when as a PSU we work, because we give highest importance to quality. So quality of manufacturing should be also given very high importance, because when you are a partner, you are working with us, then the control is not on you as far as quality is concerned, but you have to be honest in giving the particular perfect quality of products, because we are catering to another government sector. This is also very important. For example, in Madhya Pradesh, we are already working with another very pioneer company of India, one of the Navaratna companies out here, that is IOCL. We are taking catering to their CCTV requirements in the state in 5 different places, and we are looking forward to a successful implementation of the same out here too. We have worked in Chhattisgarh also, we have worked in the pollution control boards in various states. Another very important thing which Webel is doing, which is also kind of collaboration, which is one of the earliest steps taken by any government or local agency in India, that is e-waste management. We are speaking to people, we are speaking to organizations, we are collecting the e-waste from them and are requesting people to give it to us for proper recycling so we can save the society from getting polluted. Because you know, earlier e-waste used to be collected by people and they were not disposed in the proper form, which was creating hazardous situations for the society. Webel is coming up with a plant in Sonarpur, which is in the suburbs of Kolkata, which is going to do the recycling of this. So such kind of innovative jobs Webel has kept on doing in collaboration, not with the other governments, but with public and private partners. And we look forward to serving the society, not only generating revenue, giving a healthy and better life to the society of India and us.
Great to know that Webel is not only working for the West Bengal government, but also working for the state government. This is one part. The certain functions where actually are working is health and other area also. It's also important. Also, we were talking about public-private partnership. I'll come back to you actually and discuss more about this also. In the meantime, coming to you, Mr. Thakur, again the same question actually. If you can give us any example of the recent initiative project, because I know currently you are also handling additional charge of education department. So I think you have handled or you are handling environment portfolio also. So maybe any
first of all, I'll thank you, iLounge media team, Mr. Faimur, Mr. Raman Kumar Mishra, and his colleagues, the government of Madhya Pradesh who's hosting us, the eminent speakers on the dais, and the speakers and the delegates of the dais. I just want to tell you, basically, when as a government we talk about the service delivery, so usually service delivery is mostly restricted to 4 or 5 things. It will be a revenue matter, it might be a water supply, water or maybe roads, something like that, and maybe transport and all. So basically, the state of Himachal Pradesh has tried to bring in the e-services to them. We have many applications. Now the problem, I think it will be in other parts of India, it is multiplicity of applications. So just when I am talking about Himachal Pradesh, we have developed many applications like the e-Samadhan. Now it has been registered as the e-Samagra Samadhan. When you get all the facilities, mostly if you want your maybe caste certificate, character certificate, marriage certificate, and many types of different certificates are being issued to the people. Now, when we talk about e-governance and digital literacy, everything, only thing is about the delivery part. What Himachal Pradesh has done, it has come up with common service centers, better known as the Lok Mitra Kendras. So basically, what happens is the end user does not know how to access the facilities offered by them. And then the duty of the state is also to disseminate the information with respect to the digital initiatives taken by it. Since you are talking about one of the best initiatives would be Himbhoomi. Basically, like the additional chief secretary from the state of Madhya Pradesh, he was telling in the morning, you don't have to go here and there. It is same in Himachal Pradesh. We also have digitized our land records. Now you can get a copy of the revenue records just by a click of a button. Again, when I said a click of a button, it is not that very easy. We have not made our interfaces very public. What I want to say is they are not very easy to use basically. So what we need to, that is why what we opt is for continuous public dialogues. When I'm speaking about like Himbhoomi, you have many initiatives. You don't have to, earlier you have to run after maybe the revenue officer called as Patwari at my place, the Tehsildar and all. Now you don't have to, you just have to apply and just feed. If you don't know the record number of your, the revenue record number also, you have to just put in your names and all. So basically our focus is to make the digital interfaces more public savvy. They can understand it, they can get it very easy. Now, since I'm also holding the charge of disaster management, what I have done is trying to rope in and bring in new technology. What I have tried to do is to e-submit the DPRs also, detailed project reports also. Since implementing agencies are again the Jal Shakti Vibhag, the Public Works Department and XYZ, I am trying to make it that should be easy on our part. We can easily monitor it. Basically, what I consider about the e-governance part is, the one part is we launch it, and then we should know how to operate it, and then we should have some kind of data which could be analyzed to make that application or the website more public friendly. So we act on those. So that was, and see now our offices, especially the transport department offices, are almost empty. Nobody, I have not seen many people coming to offices because many initiatives are of the government of India and few initiatives are from the state of Himachal Pradesh. So basically, I want there should be less public interface. I should be doing something important work. Now it is not only, it has decreased the level of corruption also. In addition to that, the poor people, the people who don't have the resources, they have saved the costs also. They don't have to go from here and there. They just, I told like there are just 4 or 5 services for which people come to the offices. Most of the services we have provided online. Like we can all now, like one of my colleagues from West Bengal was telling, we do also have smart meters. But the bill is generated then and there. You see the meter and bill is generated. So this is the kind of services Himachal Pradesh is offering.
Great to know about it, Thakur. One God actually used public dialogue. This is really very, very important. And I think this collaborative government is all about this only, wherein actually you are making service delivery available to the citizens in a very easy and efficient manner. Thanks for this. Coming back to you, sir, I know, I mean, you have been Bhishma Pitama and NIC. You have seen a lot of, you have been involved in a lot of projects, and Currently also I know actually you are looking after several other projects. So in this regard, I would like to understand from you two things. Obviously, one by one I will come to you. First, about this data security and data privacy. Now, what I know, I mean, this is very, very important. But what are the things which are required to ensure this in any such kind of projects?
Actually, the NIC is home to many applications, citizen-centric applications and DBT applications, where data security has a very great role. And data privacy, because we hold somewhere it is an Aadhaar based, somewhere it is not Aadhaar based, because nowadays we are somehow discouraged. But wherever dispersal are happening, like PM Kisan, EPDS, somewhere there is a mandate, but we follow the Aadhaar fault principles and we secure our data. And nowadays, actually, we have focusing on the citizen-centric applications and we 360-degree data security on that. And we are also very shortly will be coming out our data governance division, will be coming out a best practice for how to manage this. Perhaps MIT will also issue a guideline on that. How do you ensure data privacy? Because the law has very strict rules for data privacy, and there are strict penalties for breach of those data privacy things. So we will be coming out with, and it is now because NIC as government, we are hosting so many things. The responsibility is on us to show us the path for others to follow. Apart from that, after G20 summit, there is a realization in government that cyber security is a very important, will be playing a very important role. India has to take a leadership role. Cyber security, we need to ensure our cyber frontier, the way we are ensuring our borders. So we are taking very many initiatives in this field. We are all central government offices are being provided with EDP solutions, EDR solutions. We are also implementing important applications. We have identified about 120 applications where we are bringing a 360-degree view of the security. We have identified about 282 parameters on which these applications will be evaluated and security will be ensured. Many initiatives NIC is taking, and we are looking forward because now we are moving into a sphere called zero trust. So every day attack may be announced today and somebody starts exploiting. After COVID, this has become very prevalent. We are taking all the measures to prevent this.
Great to know about this. Talked about this 360-degree security, also 22 parameters. And my name is Vishal. Mark was also talking about the security aspects. This is very good. Now coming back to you, Mr. Goswami, you're talking about this public-private partnership. This public-private partnership is really very, very important, and the transaction for this public-private partnership has to be, framed in a manner wherein actually both the parties are gaining equally. I mean, because of that, actually none of the parties losing anything. So in that case, in context of collaborative governance, what are the key aspects which would be required while framing this public-private party transaction? If you can just let us know about it.
Yeah, I'll just give the example of this smart meter project once again, because this has been given just now. And we had been using cloud technology for the same, where we had this partnership with a private company. It's a complete private company, it's an MNC also. Now, the key factors or the key ingredients of the success of this partnership is, first of all, loyalty and faith amongst each other. Secondly, we being a PSU, we ensure that the quality of service which we are providing to our end customer, who coincidentally is also a PSU, so involving a private partner. See, the private partners or the private companies' working norms are a bit different from the government norms. So making them understand the government portfolios, the government's way of work, the delivery schedule, how is it to be maintained, and working with a government company from a private point of view is a bit different. So we needed to counsel them. We had some sessions, we make them understand, and the agreements are implemented in such a way both are given equal justice and the respect for each other is at the same power and depth. That had been taken into considerations very much, and we have followed that issue.
Get to know about it, respect for each other, and also understanding the requirement.
That's very much important.
Yes. Coming back to you, Mr. Thakur, based on the project which we are talking about, what are the key learnings which you can give us around this?
Basically, now I'll come to my department, this education also. Now we are trying to integrate new technologies which includes artificial intelligence. Basically, we are now trying to understand what are the other reasons for dropout in maybe schools, colleges. Why are the people dropping out? See, my state has seen the enrollment coming down from almost 9 lakh in maybe 2002 to around 4,50,000 in 2024. So you can almost understand that the enrollment has gone down. I am talking about the total education system from the elementary to the secondary and colleges and all. So we have to learn to see what are the reasons. And now it is not, this is one aspect. The other aspect is to optimize the existing resources. See, what happens is we have many Government of India schemes, we have many state schemes, we have many resources. Like we require resource A at one place is available at B place. So in order to optimize that, also we have taken technology to the forefront and trying to optimize resources. But it is not if we always think we don't have resources, we don't have resources. It is not this which is all the time. It is about resources is available at place A and is not available at B. And where it is required, it can be done also. So we are basically trying to find out another problem in Himachal Pradesh, which has a different geographical condition, is absence of teachers. It is difficult to monitor them. It is very difficult to monitor them. So we have introduced biometric attendance. And see, once you introduce a technology, there are people who will try to dodge that technology. So basically, we are working on that to make it real time. And I am very glad to tell you we have mapped almost every resource in Himachal Pradesh, be it from the forest department, from the education department, from the health department. That helps us a lot. What happens is, since I am also in disaster management also, what happens is at times people go to trek and they basically lose their place. And to basically we have basically create a polygon, it's a GIS based, and we easily come to know which are the available resources. Like where is the hospital, where there is a fire station, there is a police station, so that he can be given immediate help. Now, like you were talking about pooling of resources. See, now we have identified few schools which could be used as a point for congregation during earthquakes. So it is happening because of the data available. On that lines, now we are trying to introduce artificial intelligence, machine learning also. Basically, our new contracts basically take these things into account.
Really good to know two things. The key takeaways from you is optimization of resources. Resources can be anything. It can be your application, it can be your manpower, also anything. Also optimization and utilization. This is really good actually. Also, I'm talking about across the departments. This is also good. Okay. I'm getting indication that time is over. Maybe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.